Alright, in this video, we are going to create a model pop-up which we will use to work with the add to do form which we want to do as the next step of this series. To get the model pop-up in place, I have this component already in the Admin LTE theme, and what we want to initially do is convert this into a React based component. Now if you look at the code base, right, primarily what is happening is there is this component which loads up. Okay, there is a class which changes from it goes into a show, and there is a display block. If we remove these two, basically then the model will not be visible, right, and it becomes display none. So this is something which we will create as a behavior in our component, and we will have a working model component. So to get started, from the admin LTE theme, I will copy this part of the HTML. This is where the model starts and this is where the model ends. So we will use this. We'll go into our components folder, common, and we'll have modal.index.tsx. I'll paste the HTML and start removing a few things which are not necessary. And obviously the class will change to class name. Once this is done, I have everything working properly. There is one more thing which we need to bring in, which is the backdrop. So I'll go over here and search for, or rather, why don't I first show you why that is required. Okay, so let us keep it like this right now. I'll open up my home where we are showing this to-do list, right? So after this we will open up our modal component. So modal, okay, I can't do a self-closing thing right now, so I'll just have this. It's not yet imported. Yep, I want to import that. So this is done. Hit save, go to the browser, and as of now I don't think there's any change in here because we haven't added those classes. So I'll have show, okay, and even then it will not be visible. However, we will be able to see it in our DOM, right? So just add display block. So this is our model pop-up. However, you can see that the overlay or the black backdrop is not coming, and that's something which we need. So I'll go into my how do you say, HTML, and look for that thing. I think it is somewhere here. I have seen it come like this, right? I think it used to come somewhere at the end. I don't know, where is it? That is a bit strange. Yep. So these are the classes which we want. Okay. Oh, so we will need two root. We now have two root how do you say, elements in our component, right? So this will fail. So what we can do is we will use react.fragment, and now if I see, okay, so the backdrop is in place, which is fine. And then where is the model? Here it is. So yeah, display block, and now the proper rendering is happening. However, we need to control the behavior, right? So let's just see what can be done. This is our modal component. So default modal, one fine body. All right, so this obviously will be, let's say, a prop which we are expecting. So I'll just have the interface title. This is going to be a string. Okay, I'll just print the title over here, which means I need to send it over here. So title, let's just say, is add new to do. Okay, and we need one more variable, which is the visibility. So why don't we send that? Visibility is like whether the modal should be open or not, and this will be controlled by the parent component, which is our home component where we are displaying the model. So we'll have a state here, state variable. Let's just say state equals and then visibility is false. Okay, and so I'll just destructure it. And why don't we have this as show modal? This sounds more appropriate as a variable, so I just changed that. And obviously now we are expecting visibility, which is a boolean value. Okay, so just save it. Now few class based controls we will need. So I'll have this, and show will be visible only when the visibility is kind of true, right? So I'll have first of all, I'll just destructure that, copy. If this is true, right, if this is true, then we do show, else we do hide. Okay, this is done. The same thing is required here as well, so I'll just add that. Oh, sorry, not like that. So I'll copy till here. Okay, come over here, this gets converted into this brackets, remove quotes, have this backtick in here, and this becomes the expression. So now we have this thing controlled through the home component. Right now it is false, so which means if I go to my page, this is not visible. However, if I make it true, save, oh, I don't think it will be visible. The backdrop is coming, but the display none and display block is still being a problem. So why don't we add a style dot SCSS. However, I'm going to add two very simple classes, nothing SCSS about it. One is show and one is hide. And as you expected, this is display block, display none, and inside the modal we'll just do import style.scss. and now let's see. Alright, so we have this. So we have the title in place, we have a close button, we have this body which we need to take care of, and we will get rid of this button. The button will not be in the modal, so just change it here. The close will obviously be there. So what is happening is the close button is going to trigger the visibility. However, this is coming as a prop, so which means we need to uh, kind of send this information back to the parent component, right? So to handle this behavior, how do we do it? We, let's just say, from the home component we pass a property, or rather this will expect on close as a prop. Okay, and this prop is a function. On close, so I'll copy this and pick it up here. So there's this times, and here's this button. So on click, right, on click of this button, why don't we just do this dot on close? Okay, the on close is not destructured, it is. So okay, I think I need to, I can directly call this function, right? So I'll just do that and see. I think it should work. So this is done. On click. Okay, so this was the button and this is the button. This is done, and it will now complain about this property. Sorry, this thing not available. So in here we'll just toggle the state. Visibility is this dot state. Oh no, yeah, actually. So what we will do is, whatever is the show model right now, I think we are already destructuring it. So show model, what is happening? Show model is not show model. Once we do that, right, so by default it should be false, and all right, we need a button. We definitely need a button, otherwise we can't get the model opened up. So this is the footer which we are sending, right? In this footer we will add a button. Let's just have a button, btn primary, oops, and btn sm. We'll have add new to do. If you remember this thing, right, we are sending as a component inside the footer, which is responsible for rendering this. So that is something which we are going to use. This is the component, the new component which we have, and in this component we'll pass a prop. So it's a stateless component where we are sending a prop, and in this prop, let's just say this is the footer, right? So inside this we do show model equals show model, and handle add to do will be a function which will again do something similar. Only thing is, it is always going to set it as true. I could have done it in a function, but I think only a toggling of state doesn't warrant a function. Okay, so I'm clicking it. On click equals what I can now do is on click of this button, I can do props dot, I'll just copy the exact prop name and wait for the refresh, and we are in business. So what is happening? Let us recap quickly. So we had our card component where the title icon blah 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 were being sent. In the footer we were sending the to do footer component, which is this stateless component which we had on top of our class component, right? Now initially it was just returning a basic HTML, but now what we did was we are now sending this stateless component certain props. Through that props we are sending this on click behavior, right? And so this is now available as a button in that to do footer component, which can trigger this function, and in that we are saying that the show modal should be true. So that results in this pop-up being opened, and we have configured the cross icon and the close button to close that component as well, right? So yeah, I think now we have our basic modal in place. Now we need to somehow get rid of this and let this component render whatever is coming as children. So in here I'll come over. So yeah, we destructured the children coming here, and where do we show that? We show it in the body. So we are doing that. Now inside home I'll need to convert that self-closing model component into this format, and for now I can send any HTML in here. So I can do something like this is where the form will come, and if you want we can even do a strong tag inside this and save. Wait for the refresh, and now this is working, right? There are quite a few things which we can do. For example, there is this blue colored model pop-up which we can configure. There are different variations, like there is this large which I'm thinking of using. There is an extra large, small. These are all basically changing certain classes, and based on that the things are changing its appearance. For example, this is SM, and then there is an LG and XL, which means if I go to my model component in here, where is it? ID. Okay, I don't think it is the ID which is controlling, it is the model dialog and then model SM. If I make it LG, it changes the size. So this is something which we want. So why don't we have, where's that model dialog? Model dialog is here, right? So we can have one more property, which is, let's just say size, which is going to be a string. Okay, we come over here, we destructure that, and model dialog, then we have model dash. Just do the size, however these things needs to change. So I'll introduce the backticks and this, and now because the size is mandatory, I'll have size equals, let's just say first of all XL. Okay, wait for the reload, and we have a huge looking model which we don't want. So I'll just change this to, let's just say LG, and now we have this. So I think the basic model pop-up is kind of ready. I have removed the add button from here because the form which we will use, okay, will be a children which is going to render inside the model pop-up, and I don't want any behavior to be controlled from this model pop-up for that particular component, right? This component should basically tell us what is happening inside the form, and not the model pop-up, because model pop-up is going to be a very generic component. So this is why we have removed it. Okay, and yeah, this is how the close button works. So let's now look at creating the form and working towards saving the to-do item.